Silent Hill 2 is often considered one of the best horror games of all time, and its storytelling has had a significant influence on many games that followed. Titles like Cry of Fear, Afraid of Monsters, Amnesia the Dark Descent, and numerous AAA games like The Evil Within drew inspiration from Silent Hill 2's atmosphere and psychologically rich narrative. Upon its release, critics and fans alike praised Konami for its unique storytelling. This game was followed by two sequels, Silent Hill 3 and Silent Hill 4 The Room. However, the franchise began to decline in popularity when Konami hired Western developers to make games like Homecoming, Shattered Memories, and Downpour. However, my main focus on this video is not on the franchise's downfall, but on Silent Hill 2 itself. Silent Hill 2 is renowned for its compelling storytelling, particularly that of James Sunderland, a grieving husband who lost his wife 3 years before the events of the game to an unspecified illness, which is never elaborated upon in either the original or the 2024 remake. Those who have played the game to its conclusion are aware that James's wife, Mary, did not die from any disease at all, rather she was smothered to death by James. The game also elaborates that all the monsters that James encounters are not just manifestations of his imagination, but also representations of his own emotions. Don't believe me? Here are several examples. The bubble-headed nurses in Brookhaven Hospital symbolizes James's sexual frustrations that emerged after Mary became ill. James and Mary were unable to have children of their own, and he grew frustrated with their inability to start a family. Similarly, the character of Maria represents how James wishes to remember Mary. Another key figure is Pyramid Head, the antagonist who embodies James's guilt for killing Mary. Pyramid Head also acts as a form of guardian that guides James towards his ultimate goal, uncovering the truth behind Mary's death. After James discovers his actions, Pyramid Head, or rather two Pyramid Heads, kill themselves in front of him, symbolizing that they have fulfilled their own purpose. Aside from the symbolism, there is an interesting fan theory suggesting that James killed Mary recently and intended to take his own life alongside hers, which may explain the in-water ending. This theory is further supported by evidence in the remake where players can find a body inside James's car in spectator mode. Since we are discussing the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is basically the main topic of this video, there's a lot to unpack in this video. When the remake was announced, fans were excited until they learned who was funding the project. Skepticism arose because the lead developer, Bloober team, was known for producing games that were a hit and miss, like The Medium being a prime example. Funny, Akira Yamaoka actually did the soundtrack for The Medium, so yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess. As Konami released the short message on the PS5 for free, Konami and Bloober team unveiled a combat trailer that received heavy criticism from original fans, who even labeled it as a failure before it was even released. Nevertheless, behind-the-scenes looks made the game appear promising. Ultimately, upon its release on Steam and PS5, it sold over 200 million copies. It was hailed as one of the best remakes ever made. After playing the game myself, I was reminded of the first time I experienced Silent Hill 2. But this basically raises the question that many people, like myself, have been asking: is the Silent Hill 2 remake a faithful adaptation? In the remake, James is portrayed similarly to his character in the original PS2 release, but with added depth and emotional authenticity. The game features additional dialogue as James explores various locations, as well as glimpses of the past, quote-unquote, that he can interact with. For example, at Pete's Bolorama, players can experience enhanced dialogue that references a scene from the original.
This town's full of monsters. Who could just sit here and eat pizza?
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza? She said
James's reaction to significant events like Maria's death at Brookhaven are also even more intense. He feels deeply devastated, and unlike in the PS2 version, he doesn't hold back his tears. The details in James's clothing evolve as the game progresses, becoming increasingly tattered over time. Additionally, the letter that James receives doesn't even exist when you reach the hotel. After discovering the truth, the monsters begin to cower, flee, or just die, which is a compelling detail that reflects James's growing understanding of why these creatures even exist throughout the game. Now let's discuss Angela's character. I really loved how they did her story, and I also love how they expanded her character. Now, there wasn't much that was made about Angela in the remake, but they did flesh out her backstory really well. For instance, during the Abstract Daddy boss fight, there is a closet that James can enter, but the monster himself doesn't follow. This closet symbolizes Angela's traumatic childhood and the loss of innocence she endured. Now, for those who are not familiar with Angela's backstory, Angela was abused by both her father and her brother. In one bonus cutscene that I actually saw in the Silent Hill 2 remake, which I actually thought was pretty cool, there was a part where James asks if Angela has seen Laura, or as he refers to as a little girl. The moment that Angela hears this, she begins to have a post-traumatic stress attack.
Oh, you didn't happen to see a little girl around here, did you?
A little girl?
Yeah, Angela? Are you alright? Angela?
No. Please. You shouldn't be here.
Angela, it's okay.
No, don't touch me!
This moment pretty much foreshadows the revelation that will occur in the Labyrinth level, making it significant for new players. In the boss fight with Abstract Daddy, it is 0 to 100 compared to the original. What's even more disturbing is that you get to hear Angela's abuse on the TV that you can basically shoot to go to the next path. Now, when I say it's 0 to 100, I mean it's 0 to 100 when it comes to fighting Abstract Daddy. Because in the same boss fight, not only do you get to fight the boss, but you get chased by the boss, and not only that, the boss likes to with you. As a matter of fact, the scares in the Silent Hill 2 remake is 0 to 100 as well because it appears out of nowhere. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that. Let's move on to the Labyrinth level itself. I really also loved what they did with the Labyrinth level. They actually split this level into 3 parts. There are 3 areas that you get to enter in the Labyrinth level: the Desolate area, the Rotting area, and the Ruined area. The goal here is to rescue Maria, who was previously killed by Pyramid Head in Brookhaven Hospital, but somehow survived and is now imprisoned in a cage. As previously mentioned, the labyrinth is divided into 3 areas. In these regions, each element embodies James's own psyche. If you're interested, I'd be more willing to make a separate video on this topic. Anyway, do you remember when Pyramid Head shows up in the labyrinth in the original? In the remake, Pyramid Head has a much larger role in both the Desolate area and the Ruined area. In the Desolate area, he could actually chase you until you find a safe space. Originally, I thought the safe place was in the room where you find his knife in the original game on New Game Plus. However, in the remake, he chases you around with nowhere to run, which was genuinely terrifying. Pyramid Head also appears in the Ruined area after you complete a series of trials. In this part, he chases you until you reach Maria. After finding her dead, the cube disappears, leaving only Pyramid Head's knife, which is essential for getting past the disembodied hands, while a song Fermata and Mystic Air plays. I really appreciated how they portrayed Pyramid Head in the remake. His presence is menacing throughout, and as mentioned earlier, he plays a much larger role in the Labyrinth segment. Alright, moving on. Last but not least, let's talk about how Eddie is portrayed in the remake. In the original version, Eddie is depicted as an obese man who sounds somewhat stoned and ultimately becomes a boss during the labyrinth segments. However, in the remake, he is given much more emotional depth. Eddie is still portrayed as an obese man, but he is shown to have a learning disability. When James first encounters him, Eddie is crying and whimpering, almost as if he is pleading, which reflects his experience of being bullied in the past. When Eddie asks to join James, James kindly declines the offer. Later, we see Eddie eating ice cream in a movie theater, which comes off as quite strange, I know. But when James asks Eddie to come with him to find Laura, Eddie responds with this.
Now you want me to come with you?
This detail is significant because it foreshadows Eddie's later attempt to kill James. It is heavily implied that James's rejection of Eddie's earlier offer is taken very personally, especially when you consider that Eddie ends up attacking a man who bears an eerie resemblance to James. To conclude, I genuinely love this remake. I appreciate how Bloober Team took the original source material, made some slight tweaks, and brought Silent Hill 2 back into relevance. While there have been many changes in the remake, the core story remains intact. The game does an excellent job of referencing its past through Easter eggs, or as I like to call it, or as many would like to call it, glimpses of the past, which players can find scattered throughout the game. Additionally, the return of Akira Yamaoka is a standout feature. He has been the cornerstone of the Silent Hill series since 1999, and when it was announced that he would return, both I and many others were thrilled. Upon the game's release, the soundtrack truly delivered, especially when one of their songs actually plays throughout the final part of the labyrinth level, as mentioned before. What I really loved about this remake is the depth of emotion woven throughout the gameplay. It really shows how Bloober Team cares about the source material. Even content creators like Jacksepticeye were impressed. But the question still remains. Is the Silent Hill 2 remake a faithful adaptation? Whether some people may consider it a faithful adaptation is their opinion. Some may not like it, some may not like it. But for me, I think the answer is definitely yes.